The first woman elected to the U.S. Senate takes office, 1932. Full detailed story. In the early 1930s, American politics was almost entirely controlled by men. Although women had gained the right to vote in 1920, few were trusted with national leadership. The idea of a woman serving in the U.S. Senate, let alone being elected, still felt unthinkable to many. That changed on January 19, 1932, when Hattie Wyatt Caraway took office as a United States Senator, becoming the first woman ever elected to the U.S. Senate. Her journey to that moment was quiet, unlikely, and historic. A life far from politics. Hattie was born in 1878 in Tennessee. She was not raised for public life. She studied teaching and music, married Thaddeus Horatio Caraway, and spent most of her early adulthood focused on family life. Her husband later entered politics, eventually becoming a U.S. Senator from Arkansas in 1913. Hattie followed him to Washington, D.C., but like most political wives of the era, she stayed in the background, observing, listening, and no one imagined she would one day hold the office herself. Tragedy opens a door. In November 1931, Senator Thaddeus Caraway died suddenly while still in office. Arkansas was left with a vacant Senate seat during a time of national crisis. The Great Depression was devastating American families. At the time, it was customary for a widow to be appointed temporarily until a replacement election could be held. President Herbert Hoover appointed Hattie Caraway to the seat, assuming she would serve briefly and step aside. Even Hattie believed this at first. A decision that changed history. As months passed, something unexpected happened. Constituents wrote letters encouraging her to stay. Farmers, workers, and women saw her as honest and steady during uncertain times. Rather than resign, Hattie Caraway made a bold and rare decision. She would run for the Senate seat herself. This was shocking. Women rarely ran for high office, and when they did, they were often dismissed as symbolic candidates. Many politicians believed she could not win. But Hattie Caraway was not trying to prove a point. She believed she could serve, and she believed voters deserved a choice. The campaign. Her campaign was unconventional. She avoided dramatic speeches and harsh attacks. She spoke calmly about economic relief for farmers, workers' protections, government responsibility during the Depression. Senator Hugh Long of Louisiana, a powerful and controversial figure, traveled Arkansas campaigning for her, helping draw crowds and attention. Still, many underestimated her chances. They underestimated the voters. Election and swearing in. Hattie Caraway won the election decisively. On January 19, 1932, she was officially sworn in, not as a temporary replacement, but as an elected United States Senator. For the first time in U.S. history, a woman had earned a seat in the Senate through a democratic election. It was a quiet ceremony, but it marked a monumental shift. Her years in the Senate. Caraway served in the Senate from 1932 to 1945, winning re-election and proving she was far more than a historical footnote. During her tenure, she supported New Deal programs to combat the Great Depression, workers' rights and labor protections, anti-lynching legislation, women's participation in government. She was known for her integrity, discipline, and independence. She did not seek fame, but she earned respect. Why her story matters? Hattie Caraway did not change history with loud speeches or dramatic gestures. She changed it simply by staying, serving, and winning. Her election proved that women could compete and succeed at the highest levels of American government. Every woman who later entered the U.S. Senate walked through a door she helped open. What began as a temporary appointment became a permanent place in history.